And this is the Viofo HK3 Hardwire kit for Viofo dashcams. And on this video, I'm gonna show you its features as well as how it works in preparation for installation. And I have placed a link in the description down below to this Hardwire kit in case you need to get one for yourself. And here is what the kit looks like. Now you'll notice that on this side we have the cables that are gonna go to the fuse box of the vehicle. We have the hardwire kit itself, and then we have the end that is gonna go to the dash cam, which in this case it has a mini USB right angle connector. Now as far as length, on this side we have roughly about 9.5 feet of length, and on this side we have roughly about 3 feet in length. And this kit is gonna be compatible with vehicles that run on 12 volts or 24 volts. Also notice that the output is 5 volts with a maximum of 2 amps. What's interesting too is that this kit does include low voltage protection, which means that the kit will turn off when the battery gets low enough to prevent it to be fully discharged. But what's really neat is that they gave us the ability to adjust that cutoff. And here is a little switch, and we can slide the switch in this direction or in this direction to select when do we want that low voltage cutoff to kick in. So for example, right now it is set to 11.8 volts if we have a 12 volt vehicle, so the kit will turn off when the battery dips below 11.8. And if we wanted to be very conservative, I can set the switch all the way to the other end, and now this hardwire kit is gonna turn off when the battery dips below 12.4. Now as you can see, there's a total of 4 selections on this kit, that 11.8, 12.0, 12.2 and 12.4 for 12 volt vehicles, and the corresponding ones for 24 volts, 23.6, 24.0, 24.4 and 24.8. So the most important thing to remember is that by having this switch all the way to the right, we're gonna be playing it very safe in terms of us not letting the battery get too low before the kit shuts off and turns off parking monitoring. And if I have the switch towards the left side all the way to the end, now we're getting very aggressive, telling the kit to stay on the longest to maximize the amount of time that we can do parking monitoring before it turns off. And now let me explain this side of the kit and what each cable does. And as I mentioned earlier, these wires will go to the fuse box of the vehicle, and all 3 of them have to be connected in order for this kit to work correctly. The very first one is yellow in color and has been labeled ACC. This wire has to be connected to a source of power that has power when the car key is on the accessory position or on the on position. Next up is this red wire, which has been labeled battery. This wire has to be connected to a source of power that has power all the time, even when the car is off. And finally, we have this black wire, which has been labeled ground. And ground is normally a metallic surface on the vehicle, so I normally look for a bolt that I can loosen up. I slide this underneath and retighten the bolt, giving me ground. And if you want to see how I locate ACC and battery on a car's fuse box, I have already made a video showing that process in great detail. I'll put a link to that in the description down below in case you want to check that out. But you also may be wondering how I attach these wires to the fuse box if these are just wires and these are fuses. And that's where fuse tabs come in. This is what they look like, and fuse tabs attach to the end of the wire, and now I can take that fuse tab and insert it or tap into the fuse box like a normal fuse does. I have already made a video showing how I attach fuse tabs to wires. If you guys want to see that, I'll put a link to it in the description down below. And it is important to point out that the fuse tab installed on the end of the wire must be of the same size as the fuse box I am trying to tap into, because as you can see, over time manufacturers have used different fuse sizes on vehicles, so there are different fuse types available in different sizes in order to find one that matches the fuse box. And here's a great side-by-side comparison of the fuse and its matching fuse type in case you wanted to compare the fuse on your vehicle to identify which is the fuse tab size that will be needed. And here's another interesting feature of fuse tabs. Most of the time there's going to be an empty space available where I can locate either ACC or BAT, and the fuse tab can take power from the fuse box. However, in other cases the fuse box is completely full, and even if I find BAT or ACC in here, I cannot use the fuse tab because there's already a fuse in that location. And this is where fuse tabs have a very interesting feature, and that it allows us to mount 2 fuses on it and giving me the ability to now install the fuse tab while retaining the original fuse for the vehicle, but also the fuse for the hardwire kit. And for those cases where a fuse has to be removed from the vehicle in order for me to insert my fuse tab, notice that fuse tabs have 2 positions. The lower position is gonna be for the fuse that was originally removed from my vehicle, and the top position is gonna be for the fuse that drives the hardwire kit. And in case I was using an empty spot, notice that this is how it will look. There will only be a fuse on the top, which is for the hardwire kit. And the last thing to know about fuse tabs is that they are different from fuses in the sense that regular fuses typically are not sensitive to orientation. I can put it in this way or I can put it in this way and it's gonna work fine. However, fuse tabs have only one correct orientation, and the only way to know which is the correct orientation is gonna be to probe the fuse box to determine that correct orientation. And I show that process in my full hardwire video, which I mentioned earlier, so if you guys want to check that out, make sure you check the link in the description below. And finally, I always recommend referencing the manual to make sure that the hardwire kit is installed correctly. So overall, I really like this hardwire kit and the fact that they gave us the ability to adjust the low voltage cutoff. But there's one more feature that I really like, and that is on this end, because this is the cable that comes with the Viofo dashcam, and notice on the end on the hardwire kit, that end is right angle, and the right angle end is extremely beneficial because what that does, that allows the cable to exit going up towards the headliner of the vehicle, so I can tuck it away and it's not going to take space, especially if I want to put the dashcam close to one of the edges of the car. And the original cable that comes with this dashcam, the power cable, that cable does not have a right angle. It has a straight cable. The way that it exits out, it just sticks out for a lot more, and now it could go to the headliner, but now it's going to be a lot potentially more unsightly than this right angle does. However, there is one thing I would like to see them improve in the future, and that is this little guy right here on the hardwire kit. This is called a ferrite, and what this does, it reduces any potential interference going into the dashcam or from the dashcam out to the car's electronics. So that means that when I install the dashcam, this can easily be hidden underneath the headliner of the vehicle. But when I get to this part right here, the ferrite, which is a little bit thick, this may not fit as well underneath some headliners or may leave a little bulge after hiding it. So I don't really know why that's there when on the original power cable they were able to get away without a ferrite. So hopefully Viofo can find a way to eliminate the ferrite core on future versions of this hardwire kit. That way the cable is going to be a smooth and thin cable like the original power cable that came with the dashcam, and I can fully hide and tuck that in without running into a little bulge. And now that you're familiar with the hardwire kit, you might want to check out my other video where I show how I run and hide all the cables for a dashcam. I'll put a link to that video in the description down below, along with a link to this kit and the fuse tab kit in case you need one. And if you have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments down below. If you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel, and stay tuned as I have a lot more dashcam reviews coming up for you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.